In Week 4 against the Seattle Seahawks, Jared Goff made NFL history when he accomplished the near impossible of completing 18 of 18 passes. But now, as we get set for the Dallas Cowboys game, Jared Goff could yet once again accomplish a rare NFL feat. And we're going to talk about it. So stay tuned.
What are we? What makes us what we are and what we're going to be? It's grit. It's what we started with last year, guys. Doesn't matter if you have one ass cheek and 3 toes. I will beat your ass.
Can definitely compete with the big dogs.
10, 5, end zone, touchdown, Detroit Lions.
You guys are unbelievable, man. I'm telling you.
We are driven by Detroit.
Hello, Detroit Lions fans, and welcome on back to yet another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. I'm your host, David T. Pike, and as always, we're diving on in. My friends, we all know how important that game against the Seattle Seahawks was for the Lions. It was important to the Lions because we finally got the monkey off our back about how we couldn't beat Seattle. It was important because it was the unveiling of the black uniforms, and we had a great game in those black uniforms. There was a lot of importance in that game. But perhaps the biggest thing that came out of that game was Jared Goff's absolutely unforgettable performance. Jared Goff literally established an NFL record that, quite frankly, is probably going to stand the test of time. Because it is just damn near impossible to do what he did. Again, Jared Goff in that game against Seattle completed 18 of 18 passes for almost 300 yards, for 16.2 an average a throw, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, and 155.8 passer rating. Again, I put this out there, when I first talked about it. But if you take a look at what Next Gen Stats said for that specific performance, it said that Jared Goff, if I recall correctly, had a 1 in 145 chance of getting that. 1 in 145 chance. That's less than 1%. And Jared Goff was able to do it. But that's what I'm trying to say. That performance in and of itself is such a rarity that I believe that is a record that's never going to get broken in the entirety of the NFL. That is just damn near impossible to try and do. And Goff is going to probably be the only one that has ever done it. Now, if that weren't the only thing that Jared Goff accomplished, Jared Goff also now has going into the Dallas Cowboys game the chance to once again smash another improbable, unbelievable record to again achieve NFL immortality. Think about this, folks. Going into that game, Jared Goff already had 1 completion from his prior game against the Arizona Cardinals. Then he tacked on another 18 more. So as it stands right now, Jared Goff has 19 straight completions in a row. And as unbelievable as it might sound, Jared Goff actually has the chance going into the Dallas game to break the NFL record for the most consecutive completions in a row all time. The current record stands at 25, which is actually shared by 4 different quarterbacks. The current guys that share that record are Ryan Tannehill, Marcus Mariota, Phillip Rivers, and Nick Foles. All 4 of them have got 25 completions in total over, and again, because of the fact that Jared Goff holds the record now of most completions in a single game, that tells you that that record of 25 completions in a row was spread out over multiple games, 2 or 3 depending. Well, Jared Goff now has a chance to break that. Again, if you do the simple math, all Jared Goff needs to first and foremost tie the record is 6 more completions. But to break the record, he needs a mere 7 completions. Now, why is that important? The reason why it is important is because if you take a look at what Jared Goff has done over the last 2 quote-unquote first halves of the last 2 games he's played, so Seattle and Arizona, Jared Goff has been flawless in both of those first halves. which tells me something. Jared Goff, if he continues his trend of absolutely stellar first half play over the last, 2 games, he definitely should be able to break that record no problem. Because I don't have the stats in front of me right now, but if I had to take a guess, Jared Goff is probably throwing anywhere between 10 to 12 passes on average over the last two games in the first half. Well, if Jared Goff only needs 7 straight completions to break the damn record, then before the halftime period, if all continues as has been going on, he should, in theory, break the record. But think about this, folks. When you think about what Jared Goff could do by actually breaking that record, it is absolutely just mind-blowing. Let's think about this, folks. It's one thing to hold an NFL record that is most likely never going to get broken again. Jared Goff's record of 18 straight completions in a game is most likely, like I said, never going to get broken. It's just the sheer amount of freaking odds to try and do that, to get to 19 straight completions, that is just ridiculous. But just thinking about it from that perspective, there's that one record that most likely will never be broken. Now you take a look at what Jared Goff has in front of him as another opportunity to break a record that most likely will never be broken. 26 straight completions in a row. If Jared Goff is actually able to attain that feat, to actually get to that point, that right there will put Jared Goff in a class all of his own. We can talk about quarterbacks that have had the most passing yards, most passing touchdowns, whatever nonsense in NFL history. That is a definite huge record to have, because you're talking about somebody that over a period of time was able to do something consistently well and, amass a huge amount of stats. That is a very important thing. That is a very grand thing when you're talking about records. But when you're talking about something like this kind of a record, which is a qualitative record, not a quantitative record, it's a qualitative record. Both records are very important. But for me, I always kind of look at qualitative records with a little bit more of a favoritism towards them. Because in order to be able to play so well that you're able to do something that no other quarterback is most likely going to be able to do over a short period of time, tells me that you are of a very high quality player, or you are a very damn lucky player. Because I will admit, there are sometimes you're going to have players that over a course or span of a couple of games, they're just going to be on fire. But that's not a true reflection of their talent over the course of their NFL career. But the chances of somebody doing that versus somebody who's actually really good is, again, even more astronomically impossible. The fact that you're going to have somebody who's been a nobody their entire career and all of a sudden accomplish a massive feat that literally almost nobody else has done is much more unlikely than somebody of Jared Goff's caliber doing something like that. And the fact that Jared Goff could do it and now have not one, but 2 of those types of records that are most likely not only never going to be broken again, but of such high qualitative measure that it shows the true type of quarterback, the true type of, impressive, physical God-given talent he has, that's saying something. Now, I'm going to say this right now. What are the actual chances that Jared Goff could actually break this record going into the Dallas game? Currently, I think that the odds should be better than 50%. Here's the reason why. Again, I just showed you guys about, what Jared Goff has done over the last 2 first halves against the Cardinals and the Seahawks. So that right there already gives a very promising, very good picture on Goff's behalf. But you also have to think about it from this perspective. It's not just Goff that's doing very well. The entire Lions offense, is realistically humming and running at full steam. Man, that was a tongue twister. This offense is literally playing at its best right now. The offensive line is blocking very well. The run game is working very well. Receivers are catching the ball, and obviously Goff is doing a very good job. And Ben Johnson is opening up the playbook and allowing this offense to play like we've seen it play. Now, why that is important to note is because, as I've stated in a previous episode talking about the Dallas defense is not going to have their 3 top pass rushers. They're not going to have Nealon. They're not going to have Lawrence. They're not going to have Parsons. We already saw what Jared Goff could do against the Seattle Seahawks when their 3 top pass rushers were out. Jared Goff damn near had all day to throw, and he literally carved up that Seahawks secondary. That's number 1. Number 2, the Dallas secondary, if we realistically want to look at it, the only part of that secondary that's really an impediment to Jared Goff is most likely going to be Trayvon Diggs. Diggs is a guy that, hey, you better know where he's at all times on the field. But again, let's weigh what we're having here in terms of what the Lions and Goff have to work with versus what Dallas has to work with. Okay, Jared Goff has Ben Johnson. He has Amon-Ra St. Brown, he has Jamison Williams, he has Sam Laporta, Monty, and Gibbs. All of those guys have shown versatility of being pass catchers and have done immensely well so far this year. The Dallas defense, as I said, no pass rushers. They've only got 1 real good defensive back. And, oh, that's right, their defense is manned by Mike Zimmer. The same Mike Zimmer who is the head coach of the Minnesota Vikings when Jared Goff led us on a 4th quarter comeback drive to win our first game in 2021, folks. That same Mike Zimmer. So, if we're being honest here, again, I think at worst, Jared Goff is probably going to get a couple more completions, but maybe not come close, but maybe not actually tie the record. But at best, I believe he breaks the record. Because again, the Dallas defense is just in shambles right now. When you don't have pass rushers, when Goff is literally doing what he's been doing the last 2 weeks, here playing against Mike Zimmer as the defensive coordinator, that defense has literally shown that it is not able to do much of damn near anything. Yeah, it gives the Lions offense and it gives Jared Goff an extreme amount of, I would say wiggle room and extreme amount of confidence that, hey, going into this game, we can continue doing what we've been doing. Now, here's the part about this whole situation that actually kind of is a little bit hilarious for me. I know for a fact that I'm thinking about this. I know for a fact that maybe some other Lions fans are thinking about this. But I guarantee you the Lions aren't thinking about it. I guarantee you Jared Goff isn't thinking about how actually close he is to establishing yet another freaking crazy NFL record. That's just literally how, again, I have to say how much I love our Lions. They don't think about records and they don't think about situations like this like us fans do. But that's what makes the game so much fun. But then on top of that, I've been paying very close attention to the entirety of the NFL week this week. I have not seen a single NFL analyst, a single other radio show, other podcast that has even come close to talking about this. Everybody's just solely talking about the Cowboys and all the other stuff that's going on. Nobody's talking about the fact that Jared Goff actually could become, once again, he could accomplish once again one of the most biggest records in the entirety of NFL history for a quarterback. That's why I'm saying, this is potentially absolutely just ridiculously earth-shattering. If Jared Goff breaks this record, he is going to put himself into a unique class all his own. Regardless of the fact that he's not won a Super Bowl or anything like that, to have these 2 records with his name next to him, yeah, that will be something that is definitely going to, how should I dare say, improve his stock in terms of around the NFL as far as what kind of quarterback he is, but it's definitely going to improve his image as far as, okay, Jared Goff is not just a quote-unquote good quarterback in a good system. He is a great quarterback in a good system. That's why I'm saying this is a huge opportunity. This is a huge moment for Goff, even though he doesn't recognize it, even though he doesn't see it. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty confident Goff doesn't care about it like I do. And it's also a huge moment for the Lions. Because again, if you can continue what you've been doing over the last 2 weeks, plus also the fact you were on a bye week, that right there will show everybody, hey, this Lions offense, they're full ready to go. And we're not even at the halfway point of the season yet. Think about that. But Anyway, folks, I just wanted to talk about this really quickly. Didn't want to take up too much of y'all's time. So with that being said, I'm going to end the episode and say thank you all for watching yet another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. If you like what you saw, by all means, I highly encourage y'all to watch the next episode. Also encourage y'all to do one of these three things. Like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. If by chance you subscribed in the past and you forgot to do so at the time, I want to highly encourage y'all to, again, make sure you subscribe, but also, please, make sure you hit that bell notification icon as well so you guys never miss any more content that I push out. Also want to encourage y'all to share this content with your Lions friends and family members. Share it here on YouTube, share it on Twitter, share it on Facebook, share it anywhere and everywhere you possibly can, because the more we can do that, the greater the channel has the reach, the greater the channel has the spread, and it allows us to bring in more viewership. And with that being said, whether you've been watching my channel and my content for a long time or this is your first time watching, I hope y'all enjoyed it. I also hope y'all got something in your life that makes you happy and it makes you smile. God bless, my friends, and until the next time we meet, I'll see you all in the next episode.